Well, Josh, there happens to be this like new trend going on that you win a title, and all of a sudden you don't fight the people in your weight class. You're taking on people that are either outside of your weight class, retired, any of those things. What the hell is going on? It was supposed to be, and always has been, that when you become the champion, you do the Volkanovski and you basically go through everybody in the division, and then you start going and possibly taking on another champion or something like that. But you got to take out everybody in your division before then. Izzy did it, right? Izzy becomes champion. He goes through all the people basically in the 185 pound, and then he goes after Jan Blachowicz. Okay, that makes sense. But what the hell is going on when we get fighters now winning the title, and all of a sudden they're talking about doing boxing? Sean O'Malley's got Ryan Garcia now trying to take him on, and he's, looking at his first title defense coming up. And we got Ilia Topuria. He's just going off, and now he wants to fight Khabib. Khabib is retired. What the hell is going on?
They're all trying to follow the format that Conor laid out. And the problem is that none of them are Conor. And that Conor of those days is gone.
Gone too.
Is gone too. Look, I understand why they're trying to do it, but none of them have that wow factor that Conor McGregor had. And I don't know if there's ever going to be another one of those guys. Paddy Pimblett kind of tried to be that guy. It's fallen short. It's definitely fallen short. I think Topuria, he's more, to me, I felt like Topuria should have taken more of the route of Khabib, because he's very stoic. He's very confident in himself. He takes, like, he just looks that part, almost like a mafia boss. Yeah. He should have just kept that way. But right now he's out calling out everyone. He's out talking trash. And I don't feel like he needs to. I think he has somebody that has been very confident when he speaks. It's very concise. But the fact that he's like, oh, I would be happy to enter the octagon with Khabib Nurmagomedov. He was undefeated, record of 29-0, and has an attractive record for me. Can we just stop with the nonsense with the Khabib thing? This guy's been retired for 3 years. He's still probably the most talked about fighter in the game. He's been gone for 3 years. Let's stop. But then he went on, and I believe he posted a video of Islam's one loss. And that happened, 8 years ago. And basically is saying that he would like to fight Islam as well.
It's okay. I have no problem with him wanting to fight Islam. And I think it's a great goal to put out there. But you've got people in your division. You got Max Holloway. You've got Evolov, who is sitting there saying, Conor, Islam, Khabib, Mayweather, Messi. Who else does he want to fight besides the guy who's also undefeated in his own weight class? And he's right. Look at Evolov just went through, the fight with Arnold Allen. He got the win. He's undefeated. He matches up, if you're going to say, pretty well with Topuria. And that would seem to be one of the fights. If you're not going to take someone like a Max Holloway, who's already got a fight, planned with Gaethje, it makes sense that Evolov would get that title shot.
I think they need to follow the Izzy format, is where you wipe out your division. Then there's an opportunity for you to go up. That makes sense. Absolutely. I understand that. But I also have people hitting me up going, hey, there needs to be a minimum of 2. Look, we can't put minimums on there, because there's certain guys that who had beaten everybody in the division until they got to the title, and there was only one person left for them to beat, which was the champion. So once they did beat them, then you're only looking at rematches, pretty much getting them there. I'll give you an example. John Fitch. John Fitch was 11-0 or whatever going into his title fight with GSP. Pretty much wiped out the division to get there because they didn't like John Fitch. So that if he would have won the title, it would have been him.
But
he didn't. But it would have been him having to get rematch after rematch after rematch, defending against people. I would understand the step up in trying to get to the next weight class. Islam's got plenty of guys for him to fight.
But it's one of the things that when you're talking about Conor, you were right. They're trying to play the Conor role. But it's one of the things that if I was going to look and give anything that I say was a detriment when Conor was, fighting at his best, he never defended the featherweight title, and he never defended the lightweight title. And it was that old saying Matt Hughes used to have: you're not the real champion until you defend it. I mean, you are the champion, but you got to defend that title.
Look, I agree with you, but I don't want to put a cap on it because it depends on how many people you got to get there. If there's got to be one or two, there's one or two guys there for you to fight still in your weight class, which is almost always the case. You know, Topuria still has Evolov. He still has Max Holloway. He still has these guys that he still needs to beat in his own weight class.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe Khabib would have probably stayed had his father not passed. He probably would have fought for another year or two. I think he would have made 30-0. I think he would have made 31, 32-0. I think he would have continued to fight if his dad was still alive.
If his dad was
Putting
there, I
the
believe
stress
so
and the
too.
pressure on his mother and his family, all that stuff was just something that he just understood, didn't want to be part of. And I have nothing but respect for his decision. But let's please stop with the calling out of him. But I do want to say this. I can understand there was fights that we were not given because of things like this. Let's just say that the Floyd Mayweather fight and against Manny Pacquiao, that shit went on so long of these guys not fighting. The GSP and the Anderson Silva fight, that should have happened. I don't know how many times that fight should have happened. It should have just happened. I mean, like, I understood GSP would have probably lost. I think he would have lost. But I would have liked to have seen that fight. That if there was an opportunity and a chance to have a fight that was a super fight back then, it was that fight. And we never got it. And so I understand why these fighters now are like, look, this opportunity, like, look, and I say Islam, let me give you an Islam example. Islam needs to fight in his weight class. I'm not saying he should go fight Leon, but stylistically, it makes for a very exciting fight. Leon's one of the best, if not the best, at getting back to his feet. Islam is one of the best at taking people down and controlling them from the top position and chasing submissions. Both of them are very good on the stand-up. Leon's got the advantage on the stand-up. Islam's got the advantage on the wrestling and the top position in the submission game. It makes for a very good fight, stylistically, very fun fight. Anything can happen. But he still has work to do. Leon still has work to do. Topuria still
Islam's got, exactly. I mean, you take a look, and his title defensive have been against who?
Rematches. 45-pounder.
Volkanovski, a 145er.
Yeah.
So he's got to go through guys like Gaethje. He's got to go through those guys that are in the weight class, the Dustin Poirier and all that. That it has to be done. He's got to win against Charles. I admit that, but a lot of people would like to see that as a rematch. You know, that's a fight that's out there too. There comes that point where you're sitting there looking and saying, these are fights that have to take place. And nothing, you know, look at Topuria is phenomenal. I love him as a fighter. I don't think the rematch with Volkanovski is a good idea right now, but there is Max Holloway, there's Evolov, there's Arnold Allen, and Arnold Allen's coming off a couple losses so that you could take that one away, but that's still a tough fight. But there are fights there in his weight class that you could look at and say, hey, that's a fight that, you know what, he's going to have to get through. No one just is going to say that Max Holloway is an easy fight. No. Is that an easy fight? No. Come on. So Max Holloway is absolutely there. Evolov is absolutely there. You got to go through people in your division to make it to where people go, all right, you've beaten the guys in your division. Now let's see you try and do something special. I'm all for it, but you got to do that first in going through your division.
I just don't want to put an automatic like 2-fight or 5-fight cap that you have to defend because, like I said, some of these guys fight their way through.
There is none of that.
Yeah, there shouldn't be.
There's no automatics. No. You know, it depends on who you are and what you've done. And the problem for Topuria is there are outstanding fighters in his weight category that he has not faced. Those are the people that you got to go through first to show that you have dominated your weight category. There's no one that can, take the title from you, basically. So we're going to go outside of it to see if you can gain another title. Great, do it.
No, I agree. When I look at the weight classes now, there's nobody in that outside of Volkanovski. There's no one in there that should be talking about going up in weight. Can you think of one? I can't.
No.
Yeah, there's no one in there. None of them. And the only reason why I would say that Alex Pereira was able to go up is because he was already killing himself to get to 85.
Yeah.
And Izzy went up and didn't get it done. So Alex went up and got it done. And he's already beaten Izzy, and Izzy was back to being the champ. It's like, look, I can't keep just revolving this door. It was 4 wins, 1 loss. It's just getting old. And I think Dana in the UFC was like, look, let's take you up there. Let's have you fight these strikers. and see what happens. There's more strikers in that division at 205, and it's perfect for you. And you cut a ton of weight. Your body frame fits that perfectly. There's guys there, but there's none of these guys. If I look down the row of all these fighters, there's no one, even in the female division, there's no one there that could say like, hey, it's time for you to move up in weight. I'm not opposed to the Weili Zhang and the Alexa Grasso, but Alexa Grasso hasn't even defended. She's defended it.
No, she's got an entire roster
to go through
of people there to go through, because really she's won the title and she's defended it against the same person that she won the title from. She got the draw, but look, Aaron Blanchfield, Manon, all of them. They all deserve a shot because they've been doing the work to get there.
Exactly. I just don't want us to miss out on something that is there. That's why I don't want to put a 2-fight minimum or a 5-fight minimum. Like people keep telling me, like,
I don't think there's any minimums on it. It's called common sense. And have you gone through your division? If you've gone through your division based upon either being the champion or your rise to the championship, okay.
I wouldn't even say that you have to, excuse me. I wouldn't even say you have to get through your division, but at least get me through the first two guys. And what I mean by the first two guys, like let's say Max Holloway, right? And then the guy below that is Evolov. Well, Evolov's not ranked above. There's somebody else in there in the middle there. Let me see on the Max Holloway in the 145-pound weight class. See, like Evolov's number 5, and then you've got Max. You've got Brian Ortega. You've got Yair. You've got, watching him fight Max, he beats Max. Why don't we have Evolov fight Brian Ortega, and the winner of that fights Topuria? I think Max automatically deserves a title shot. By the time Max is done with his fight, you get Max fighting.
You got to take a look. He's been, everybody's been fighting. He's been winning. The only guy he doesn't win against is who?
Yeah.
In that weight class.
We're going to see if he ends up being the same fighter after he fights Justin Gaethje, though. It's going to be we're going to see. We're going to see. I don't like that fight, but we're going to see. But then, like I said, if Max is out of the equation, you go right to Brian Ortega, and then you go to Evolov. And then maybe an Arnold Allen gets a win somewhere in there, and you fight Arnold Allen. That's a big body frame. But I don't want us to miss out on how we had Manny and Mayweather 5 years down the road when they weren't peak because they couldn't get it together. I know that's boxing and promoters get involved and they fuck everything up.
That's promotion.
But those are fights that we missed out on because we want these guys to clear out divisions or we want these guys to fight these other fighters. The GSP and the Anderson Silva fight never came to fruition. That was more of a Dana White decision.
That didn't come to fruition for the reason of GSP did not want to fight him.
Smart, well played.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you take a look and, GSP was a smart fighter. Great fight IQ. And, you sit there and you go, well, he did go up and win the middleweight title. He did it when Michael Bisping, a guy he matched up much better with, was the champion and said, okay, I'll take that. And so styles make fights, and that's called being a smart fighter. This is a guy I'd like to take on. That's a guy. That's not going to do me any good. Smart man. I
agree. I guess only time will tell, but I do agree that they shouldn't be just jumping divisions right away. That's one, but you can't put minimums on them on how many times they need to defend. You can't do that because they could have beaten their division out already. Maybe one guy there. But then also, too, the opportunities present themselves like a Conor McGregor and an Eddie Alvarez. Stylistically, that was a very, very fan-friendly fight. It should have been, and Conor made it look easy. But those fights that you just look and you go, man, I'd love to see that fight happen right now. And we were blessed enough to get it that night. And there's fights that should have just automatically, you're like, that makes sense. Let's go ahead and just make this fight happen. But as I'm looking at the rankings right now in the UFC and going, hey, none of these guys need to be moving. They all need to be defending their titles. We shouldn't be having this conversation about anyone fighting anywhere else. Now, let's be honest. Why do they do this, John? They do it for money, but then on top of it, it gets the media talking about them. I mean...
Oh, you're talking... I'm sorry. I took that completely different. I thought you were talking about why does the UFC do the fights like Conor versus Eddie? Money.
No,
you can make that money. That's it.
No, these guys do it because they want to make sure that their name is in the media. And hey, if I'm calling out Tank Davis, if I'm talking about Ryan Garcia, if I'm talking about Sean O'Malley was calling out Tank when he first started doing this. Then it's turned into Ryan Garcia.
Well, Ryan Garcia has come out saying, "I'll fight Sean O'Malley in the UFC." Just give me the money.
Sean O'Malley will turn into a wrestler real quick.
Yes,
Or a kicker.
He will.
He'll turn into more of a kicker.
Yeah. He'll turn into an absolute. Let me show you what my ground game can do. And he's got a good one. I don't blame him. That's called being smart. Josh, people will look at this, and you said it just the other day. It's mixed martial arts. You said that Francis Ngannou would turn into a wrestler fighting Heenan Fahea. I agree with you. I think he would at a certain point, same as he did against Cyril Gane. And why? Because it's the smart move to get the win.
That because he can.
Exactly.
It's like, if I know I can use this.
Sean O'Malley, you look and you say, how does Ryan Garcia beat Sean O'Malley? Well, he does it on the feet. Can he do it on the ground at all? Zero chance of doing it on the ground. He cannot defeat him on the ground. So if you're Sean O'Malley, where should I put this fight?
Yeah.
On the ground. Where I can't get beat.
John, there's another person out there that I don't see any of these guys talking about is Bud Crawford. You want to know why none of them are speaking his name?
He can wrestle.
He can wrestle.
Bud Crawford can wrestle.
I believe he is a 2 or 3-time state champ in wrestling.
2-time, I believe.
I'll take a look. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, go ahead. I think it was 2-time. We're talking about Terrence Crawford there. And look, man, that dude is a nightmare when you're talking about, could he step in a cage? He could. His freaking footwork is unbelievable. His power is there, all of it. But I'm not saying that he would be smart to do the switch over, but he's the one that could.
I thought I read somewhere that he was
I know he wrestled in
high school.
Yeah.
Huh.
But
maybe I misread that. Who knows? Let me see. Olympics. Did you type in wrestling career?
I'm just on his wiki. I don't know how to say it.
Probably on the wiki only talks about.
Say anything about that.
Yeah, probably just talk about his boxing career. Anyways, look, Bud can wrestle. I've seen videos of it. They've had several videos of it against kids that can wrestle. And so, him, and then mix that with his hands. Obviously, you have to learn how to check kicks, but I notice how MMA guys are not calling Bud out. But Bud is also someone that stays in his lane. Ryan Garcia, very vocal. Tank Davis, very vocal. Like, these guys are very vocal when it comes to, I'll fight anyone. But Bud Crawford stays in the boxing lane. That's where he does his best work. So, but I think these guys will start. I think they need to all stay in their weight classes, defend their titles, and let everyone know that they're the best in that weight class. Yeah, sure they are now, but you've got to defend against all the people that you haven't beat on the way up. Once they do that, let's go ahead and talk about moving on up. I say the same thing about Islam. I'm not going to let him skate by either. Before he runs off to fight Leon, let's get you through the guys that you need to fight. Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. I'll pass on the Charles Oliveira fight again because it wasn't close. Nothing against Charles at all, but the fight wasn't close.
No, but Charles was, at least he was the champ.
Yeah.
Justin wasn't.
Yes.
Dustin wasn't.
This is true. But I'd like to see the Justin, the Dustin, and the other fights for him, for Islam. And we can clear out that division and then move on. We'll see. But it needs to be done for all of these fighters. And in the UFC right now, all of them need to stay in their weight classes and defend their title multiple times, at least twice.
I'd like to see it.
At least twice.
I'd like to see it.